Hi everyone, my name is Sia and thank you for joining us today. I'm a student rep from Mind Out Loud. Mind Out Loud is a student led program and many of the materials during the workshop are student generated. The information provided on this platform is for general informational purposes only and it is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek advice of your physician or qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding medical or mental health conditions. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you may have heard or read on this platform. If you think you may have a medical or mental health emergency, please call your doctor immediately or 911. I will go ahead and pass it over to Shruti now.
Hi guys, I'm Shruti, a Mind Out Loud student rep, part of the Outreach Committee. Joining us for our December workshop today is Jeremiah from Wellness Together. Wellness Together provides innovative mental health solutions to promote student mental health awareness, advocacy, and access. From free mental health trainings to individualized therapy, we help schools strengthen their multi-tiered system of support. Wellness Together offers comprehensive support through the following programs: school-based teletherapy, providing accessible in-person therapy services directly to students on their school campus. Mind Out Loud, student-led mental health advocacy and initiatives designed to help raise mental health awareness and reduce stigma among youth. Wellness Education Lab, free mental health focused trainings for students, parents, and educators. And Laughing Together, combining comedy and humor in engaging workshops to build communication and life skills. If any questions come up during the presentation, feel free to submit them to the Q&A form that we hope to get to by the end of the hour. We will go ahead and turn it over to Jeremiah, who will be leading the workshop on getting unstuck.
Here we are. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, MOL team. Really glad to be here. And there's going to be a lot of engagement back and forth. So I hope you're able to do that wherever this finds you. Hey, my name is Jeremiah Aha. I'm a therapist and I'm on the Wellness Together team. I serve as one of our directors. So I'm in leadership. And shout out to Zoe. I'll probably be talking to Zoe quite a bit throughout this presentation, as she's also a part of the Mind Out Loud and Wellness Together team. So Zoe, thank you for taking questions on the fly. Sure appreciate it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I am going to share this. All right, we're going to talk about getting unstuck. Getting unstuck. Here we go. Let's start with something maybe a little more relatable premise. What was in your top 5? If you had Spotify Wrapped, what was it? I was excited to get it. I am a dad of 2 daughters, 17 and 12, and I'm sorry, but they're better than you guys. But we were all excited to get it, my wife and my daughters. So what was in your top 5? And I'm a Spotify guy. You might be Spotify. You might be Apple Music. I know some friends listen via YouTube. If you can submit those, tell you what, while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and share mine with you. Here it is, top 5. It's interesting. It's always interesting to me every single year. John Bellion, Norman Sand, and the Russell are all hip-hop artists. Hip-hop is one of my favorite genres. And then Bon Iver, a longtime fan for like 15 years now. And then the album Leaf was my number 5 artist. So what was yours? What was yours? It is 2 new questions. Grant Perez, Olivia Dean are some of my top artists. Noah Khan was mine. Very cool. And just so we can keep it safe, I won't say your name. So I'm not going to say, hey, first name, last name, said Noah Khan. So feel free to just go ahead and put it there. Appreciate you all sharing. And here's what we're going to do now. We're going to play a game here. All right. And so this is how it's going to work. All right. If you can close your eyes in your place to do that, that's fine. But you don't have to. All right. You don't have to. All I want you to do, we're going to play a little game of make-believe. Play a little game of make-believe. Okay? All right. So some of us have school tomorrow. Some of us don't. Some of you are listening, sometime in 2026. And you're like, well, of course I have school tomorrow. Wherever it might be, I want you to imagine yourself that you have school the next day. Wake up. It's a regular day. Nothing unusual is happening. And you go to your first period or first block or the first class of the day. Again, everything is completely normal. Then you walk into the room, and then you go to your, what might be a desk, might be a table there at your seat, wherever you normally sit. You walk in, and you look on top of your desk. You look there at the table where it's your spot, and you see a huge chocolate cupcake with peanut butter icing. And there's a red candle. And the red candle is lit. All right. Huge. I'm talking like watermelon size cupcake, not just here. I'm talking like an abnormally large cupcake. All right. Let's go ahead. And what are some of the first thoughts that go through your head? What are some of the first thoughts that go through your head? Oh, and if you're gluten-free, team gluten-free, that's okay. Pretend it's gluten-free. If you're like, hey, I can't do peanuts, man, it's actually lethal, then do something else. Do like whatever, snickerdoodle frosting. Or if you don't like desserts, that's okay. Right? What's going on? That looks delicious, says someone. Yes. There we go. Someone says, eat it. I'm going to eat it. Yeah, very good. All right. Yeah. One student's going to say, who does this belong to? Right. Okay. Very good. Very good. So let's say now you bite into it. You're like, all right, I'm going to go for it. This is it. This is my day. And you're going to bite into it. And you pick it up with two hands. Again, this is the big cupcake. And you go to bite this delicious cupcake. And when you bite into it, you almost chip your tooth because the whole thing is actually made of glass. The whole thing's made of glass. And it reminds me, maybe you've seen those videos too, where they have these lifelike things and then the knife is like cutting the glass and just dissolves and it's fully AI. Let me get a yes in the chat if you've seen those. And they're strangely satisfying, just like everyday objects, and then they're cut. Yes, one student says yes, and then just pieces of glass. All right, very good. We got a few people that have seen those. Yeah, I think just one or two of us maybe have seen those videos kind of out in the wild. Exactly. Okay, I'm changing some screens up here. I'm gonna do this. So now I can see the questions that you all are watching. I can still see you here. Okay, so let's play another game. This is to really demonstrate, before we're talking about chocolate cupcake, oh my gosh, what's going on? Bite into it in class. A lot of things are uncertain. We're going to come back to that. Okay, so life is absolutely full of uncertainty. Tomorrow, we have no idea what's going to happen. No idea. Sometimes things are very unpredictable, especially we're recording this right now and it's around the holidays time. We're like third week of December almost right now. And we're going to be getting together with maybe some family members or some people that we haven't seen for a while, maybe some relationships that aren't super great, or maybe today or this time of year isn't super joyful for you. And whatever it is, you find out and you remember that life is full of uncertainty. It can be unpredictable. How many of you right now, let's go with this, give me another yes in the Q&A in the chat. If you have had, or you do have, or maybe your parents or whoever you live with, an undependable car. You have a car and you're grateful. You're totally grateful to have it, but the car isn't that dependable. You walk out there sometimes and you're with, whoever you live with, and they start it and you don't know if it's going to start. It's really kind of a fingers crossed situation. Maybe it's yours, maybe it's somebody else's, maybe it's a friend's. Maybe you rely on them to pick you up or to take you to school or whatever. Anybody got one of those? Anybody been in that situation where things are a little bit unpredictable. Yes. Someone just said, I relate. Well, at least that's how I'm reading it. I relate. Someone said, yep. Yeah, it's stressful, right? It's stressful. It brings about anxiety. It can really, if it stays in that zone, we really don't know what's going to happen when when we're afraid of what's going to be around the corner with life. We can even start to feel depressed, start to feel anxious beyond just like regular worry. So life is absolutely full of uncertainty. So the question becomes, how can we be okay when things around us are not okay? How can we be okay here when things around us there are not all right? How do we get through that? This is like the $1 trillion question. Maybe you're in difficult situations now, or maybe you're stressed because of some job applications or college applications, whatever it might be. Maybe you're in a situation where things around you aren't great. How do you remain okay through it? How do you keep your peace in the midst of chaos? And maybe things are great now. You're like, I'm chill. Things are fine. Things are actually pretty good. That's great. I think we'd all agree that there are going to be times in life where we hit it and it's like, things around us are okay, but I'm trying to be okay in this situation. And what I'm not talking about is this right here. Let me get a ha if you've seen this meme. If you haven't, then this is just going to be proof that I'm older than you guys. Yes, great. I saw an emoji. That was exciting. Wait, did that one sneak through? Zoe, I think that might have snuck through. I'm going to put this over here. Yes. Okay. Yes. Few people. I love it. I love it. Instant feedback. There we go. So what I don't mean is this right here, where we have the dog. House is on fire. Everything's fine. It's okay. Everything is fine. But I don't mean that. I don't mean kind of lying to ourselves or ignoring or being oblivious to all like things around us just going up in flames and just really just, I'll just do positive self-talk, say everything is okay. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I mean like what we'll call psychological flexibility. Psychological flexibility. And this is something that's coined by a psychologist. His name is Dr. Stephen C. Hayes, which isn't important. But what is important is you understand the ability to kind of bend with the wind, to kind of bend and not break in the midst of pressure. This is what we're after, because we can't control what's happening around us, but we do have full control on what's happening inside of us. And what that requires is psychological flexibility, which is the fancy way of saying I'm okay even when things around me aren't okay. All right? This is what we're after. This is what we've been talking about. This is what it means to get unstuck. That's two words that are maybe a little bit more approachable. Getting unstuck, psychological flexibility. Okay, so this is going to be one of our tools, and I just refer to it as pause and get curious. This is going to be one of our 3 tools or 3 steps for this workshop on how to take care of ourselves, how to get unstuck. Okay, and the first part is pause and get curious. A lot of times, especially when we're stressed, we react. There's no pause at all between maybe the event and how we immediately react to it. Sometimes it's like almost involuntary. And sometimes when we think about things, we find out that we're really judgmental, whether it be about ourselves or the situation. That we cast judgment on it. We try and predict it. We say that this is good or this is bad. So curiosity is the opposite of judgment. So I want to invite you into a place where you can pause and get curious. And this is like a lifelong skill, lifelong, because it really invites us to be in the present, in the here and in the now. To pause and get curious. Okay, we're going to do one last game. One last game. Okay. So again, if you are able, and if it's okay with you to close your eyes just for a moment, I invite you to do that. If you're not in a place to do that, you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's fine. Maybe just look down at the ground or look in a place. Just kind of put your attention just on one place. If you can, put both feet on the ground. Maybe if you're lying down or something, just do what you can to kind of get in a fully present space. And I'm going to say a few things. And I want you to listen to these statements. And I want you just to pause and get curious about some of the thoughts going through your head. Some of those thoughts from earlier when we saw that cupcake, let's refer to that as our inner voice, or that we would kind of call that our inner voice, just these thoughts that are going on and on and on in our head. So in this time, when I say these statements, I want you just to pause and be curious on what some of those thoughts are, okay? All right. Listen to what I'm saying and then notice what's coming up. First statement is this. I am awesome. Just kind of sit in that. Kind of notice maybe some of the thoughts that are coming up. Get curious about them. Okay, the next statement is this. I am completely broken. And I know that's the opposite of the first statement, but just stay with me. Just pause and get curious. Just notice what thoughts are coming up, okay? Next is, I do everything perfectly. I can't do anything right. The next statement is, I am a good person. Next is, I am a bad person. Just going to pause, get curious about what's coming up for our thoughts. Last statement is this. I am a really good friend. I'm a really good friend. Okay. Let's kind of come back to the room here or wherever you might be. Just take a moment, maybe slowly open your eyes if those were closed. What did you hear? What did you hear? And I think we might be able to use some emojis. Might be able to use some emojis. Let me get a thumbs up if you're able to use emojis. Let's just do a test on that. Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Thanks. Look at them fly. That's awesome. Exploding thumbs up. All right. So we have that. Maybe as best you can with those emojis. What were some of the thoughts that came up when I said things like, I am awesome. I can do everything perfectly. When you were saying that in your head, what were some of the thoughts? Were they, oh, okay, we got some thinking. We got like, what's going on? We got some hearts, sparkly hearts. Great. And how about when I said, I can't do anything right? When you were kind of listening, yeah, we got some tears. Yeah, some sad faces for sure. Yeah, and those are just thoughts, those are just thoughts. And the exercise was just to pause and get curious about them. That's all. And you notice that when I just presented those thoughts to you, your inner voice was just going. Maybe if you're able, throw into the Q&A, what were maybe some of the thoughts? Like, let's get some words to it on what some of the thoughts were coming to your head. And again, I won't be saying your name when you put them through. What were some of those thoughts that were coming up as I read those statements, whether it be some of the, quote, good statements and some of the, quote, bad statements? What was coming up for you? Okay, we have someone that said, I agreed with some of them and disagreed with others. You felt really strongly about some of them and others not so much. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for posting that, friend. Appreciate it. That's good. Maybe let's try for one more. Let's try for one more. Zoe, thanks so much. Shout out to Zoe for behind the scenes there. Very good. Someone said, I second guessed a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah. That's what that inner voice does quite a bit. We hear something, we take in information, and immediately that inner voice goes to work. Especially when we hear things like, I'm a good person. Maybe some of us heard, like, are you really? Maybe that was the first thing that happened. Is that true, though? Or maybe we heard something that said, but what about when you, right? Maybe when I said something like, I can't do anything right. Maybe the immediate thing that you said was like, no, I'm really good at some things. Both of those is that inner voice. And that inner voice is a very, very powerful, it's like an everlasting roommate that lives with us. That inner voice is with you every single day for your entire life. It's there. Chirping, 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 chirping all day long. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it's not so helpful. Sometimes some of the most pain that we feel is when we believe some of those thoughts. Sometimes the most pain we can cause ourselves is when we believe what that inner voice is saying. Like I said, it can be very helpful. It can also be extremely unhelpful. And what we're going to call that inner voice for the rest of our time is this, let's see, yeah, you can't see my arrow. This one right here, you might be familiar with this. This is our friend Zenon. And Zenon is kind of our tour guide through some mental health training we have called Wellness Education Lab, Wellness Ed Lab. And this little pink one right here, this is we're going to call it our advisor. Our advisor. So we can call that inner voice, that voice in our head, we're going to refer to that as our advisor. This is the one that's always trying to give us, you can think of it as giving advice. Giving advice. Let me get a thumbs up if that's kind of making sense, if you're tracking with what I'm saying. Let's get a thumbs up in there. Okay, good. Good. We got several people. Okay. So that advisor is with us from the moment we wake up, like the first thing. How many, let's get a thumbs up if you have this. The moment the alarm goes off, you are instantly thinking about when you can go back to bed or when you can get a nap in. Like that's one of the first thoughts that you have. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah. Sometimes that's like my very first thought for a good 90 seconds. Like, can I sleep in the car between meetings today? Right? So that's our advisor. That's our advisor talking all the way to the very end of the night. Let me get a thumbs down if your advisor decides to bring up all the most embarrassing moments that you've done for the past 3 years, right when you're falling asleep. It's got some terrible timing, right? It really does. Our advisor has like no manners sometimes. Well, that's just to show you, one, you're not alone if you think some of those or you had those experiences, but two, it's with us from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep. And it kind of got legs or kind of became really alive when we were maybe 5, 6, 7-ish years old. Because before that, we just kind of did what maybe our parents or our guardians or our relatives kind of told us to do, especially when we're babies. We're kind of told like, oh, it looks like you're thirsty. It looks like you're hungry. And all of our needs, got met, hopefully. But we get a little bit older and all of a sudden we're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get in the car. No, I want to tie my own shoes. No, I don't want to eat that again. And that's our advisor kind of begins to grow up and form. And then for those of you that maybe are just out of middle school, or maybe you're, ninth grade or so, your advisor is going ham right now. It is just going for it. It's all day long. It's telling you some things that are helpful, some things that are unhelpful. How many of you can relate to that inner voice, that advisor is talking to you all day long? Let me get a thumbs up if you can relate to that. Your advisor's going crazy these days. Anybody relate? Yeah. You're not alone, y'all. And here's the thing. Here's a little tip. That doesn't stop. I'm like in my 40s with daughters, and bills to pay. Like, it's still there. It can get easier, and we're going to talk about that. But it isn't just a for now thing. We're just really starting to notice it. Sometimes it's really, really powerful. So let me say it like this. Let me actually stop sharing, and so I can maybe see something a little bit better. Okay, so here's a good example too of just like this summer when my advisor was really helpful. I have a dog. Let me get a confetti, that party thing. If you have a dog, let me get who the dog owners in the room. Yes, shout out dog owners. Oh, Zoe's even up in this. Great. I got a dog, and her name is Pippa. Her name is Pippa. Pippa. Pippa is a doodle. Let's get a shout out if you have a doodle out there. Can I get some emoji love? Anybody else have a doodle? I feel like every fourth person I meet has a doodle. Nobody. It's just me. I'm that person that I met right now. All good. Okay, so Pippa's like 3 years old, super playful, super fast, loves playing with other dogs. A real, who's a good girl? Pippa. Pippa's a good girl. Okay, and we go to the dog park. Let me get some emoji love if you take your dog to the dog park or you've driven by a dog park. You can spell dog park. You can relate to it. Great. All right. Dog park, lots of dogs, lots of dog owners. We take her there a lot to get her energy out. It's great. So we show up there, and this happens on a pretty regular basis where I'll be there, be hanging out. Pippa's having a blast. Other dog owners are there. Sometimes you kind of have awkward conversations. It's really about the dog, so it's okay. And then I'm always having my eye on the entrance door and who's coming in. I'm checking out the dog owner, and I'm checking out the dog. And I can see like how the dog owner is treating that dog or not treating that dog, how the dog's behaving. Really kind of have my eyes on it, because I've been in situations at the dog park where all of a sudden you get some really unfriendly dogs, and things don't go well. Things get actually pretty scary. Dogs get hurt, anger bursts. It's not great. And I've seen those situations from far. Thankfully, I haven't been in those. All that to say, every once in a while, I'll get just kind of this feeling in my gut when someone walks in. Sometimes there's like a lot of evidence, and I can be like, oh, that dog is not listening to a word that they're saying. And sometimes I just get this feeling for no real good reason, but I'm just kind of like, this is not chill right now. We need to leave. So put the leash on Pippa. One of my girls might be with me, and we leave the dog park. And almost every time I kind of get that feeling, within like 90 seconds of us getting out the gate, parking lot, into the car, that dog has like attacked another one, or they were playing and they got really territorial. And it's like, I knew it. I absolutely knew it. But it was just a thought that I had. It was my advisor being like, hey, this doesn't feel like it's a safe situation. And it helped. It very much helped us. So it can be helpful. In fact, our advisor's number one job is to keep us safe. That's its number one job. Can we get a hand clap for that? Because we're gonna talk a lot of bad stuff, not bad stuff, but the advisor is going to seem like a real not great one this whole time. But actually, it has the best of intentions, y'all. It wants to keep you safe. And in fact, your ancestors listened to their advisor. They remained alive. Then they had you, and you're here because your grandparents and great-grandparents and great, all the way until like the 1300s was like, we should probably get away from here. That is a bear. I don't feel safe. And they lived. And for those people that were like, it's probably fine, they became the bear's lunch, right? Our advisor is for us, and it wants to keep us safe. But a lot of times these dangers, they aren't real. They aren't real. It's kind of like you have a smoke alarm, right? Smoke alarms. Let's get a thumbs down if you've ever had that situation where you hear that beeping sound when the smoke alarm's battery needs changing. And it's so infuriating. You get the beeping sound. Oh my gosh, isn't it the worst? It's the absolute worst, because it always happens at like, let me get a thumbs up if this is the case, at like 3 a.m. or something, and it wakes you up. It never happens like when you're gone. Yeah, it's like the worst time every single time. And the smoke alarm's great because you want that there. It keeps you safe. It lets you know that the fire's going to be happening. But then there's some times when the battery goes, and it's never convenient, and you never have that 9-volt battery, because you don't feel like 9-volt batteries, if you're unaware, those are like the box rectangle looking batteries. Those are only smoke alarms. I don't know how they keep selling those things. Anyway, a little bit ago, I was changing one of those. It was like I was early in the morning, had to go get a ladder, change this thing because it was beeping like crazy. Pippa was going wild because she's like, what the heck is going on? So I'm changing this, and I accidentally there's a button on there that like tests the smoke alarm to make sure that like, hey, is the battery at full power? And I accidentally hit it. And like those are somehow connected to the other smoke alarms. And so then all of them are going off at the same time, super early in the morning. Everyone in the house is just so mad with me. So then it's not so helpful. Then all of a sudden it's like, great, this is, wow. I wish we didn't have these right now. I wouldn't be in this situation. But as I mentioned, they are helpful. They are very helpful, and they're there to keep us safe, right? And maybe you've been in some of those situations. Why don't we go ahead and put in the Q&A, maybe just as short as you can. If you've been in a situation where you just had a gut feeling, maybe it was about a person, maybe it was like, I'm not gonna go with you to that thing. We're not gonna sit next to each other for that particular event. Maybe just a quick little story. You don't have to give details or names or anything, but let's see more than just an emoji. If someone can relate to that, if they've had kind of a Pippa dog park situation, where they just had something in your gut and you're like, nah, something feels off about this. I don't know what it is, but I can just feel it. Go ahead and put that through. Again, I'm not going to read your name. Would love to know if you've been in that situation when your advisor was really helpful for you. All right, we'll check back in a bit. Yeah, someone says, yeah, they've been a part of that, and you're like, oh man, I'm glad I trusted my advisor. The advisor is really what this A stands for right here. I'm going to come back and see the story. Thanks for writing it. I'm going to come back to that real quick. Our advisor is the A in DNAV. It's the A in DNAV. We have our valuer, our advisor, our noticer, and our discoverer, and what is referred to as the DNAV model. And this is a particular approach, kind of therapy or kind of practice. These are a set of skills that we can learn that are really, really helpful for us to tame the advisor, to tame that inner voice in our head, make it work for us and not work against us. So we aren't having to like hurl shame and be upset with it, but rather understand that it's there for our good, and we can have it be the most helpful it can for us. So DNAV, highly recommend this book. I have a copy right here next to me. You may have seen it in other trainings you've had if you're a part of Mind Out Loud leadership, but that's the book, and that's where I'm getting the terminology from, advisor. Let's go here. As we mentioned, it can be helpful and unhelpful. I'm going to read a quick story that put forth that was submitted here in the Q&A. This person says, I had a feeling last week that my dog was going to run away, even though she never does. So I was really careful with leaving doors open, and my mom left the door open. Blaming the mom, I love it. And then my mom left the door open, and she did. No way. And then we got her back. I'm guessing you mean the dog, not your mom. Then we got the dog back after chasing her for like 3 blocks. Oh, terrifying. 3 blocks. Yeah. So you had that feeling. You're like, I think my dog's just going to book it. And then you were really careful. Then so you took the measures, like you're like, okay, I better do something as a result. Someone else, their advisor, wasn't kind of hearing the same thing. They didn't think about it, left it open, dog takes off. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That can be a tough situation where maybe we're doing what we can to control the situation, listening to our advisor, and other people maybe aren't on the same page, and things can still go exactly how we didn't want them to go. Yeah, appreciate it. That can be really difficult. I'm so glad you found your dog. Congrats on that. I'm sure you had a real stern talking with them, put them on restriction, took away their phone. Those are dad jokes. Those are dad jokes right there, y'all. Okay, back to it. Helpful and unhelpful, our advisor. And when it's unhelpful, that's when we can get stuck. So our first step, as we talked about, that pause and get curious. Pause and get curious is to recognize our advisor, that it's there, that it's for us. It can be helpful, it can be unhelpful. But our first step in this, or our first kind of tool in getting unstuck, is to recognize that advisor. Let's rewind back all the way to the beginning. And those sentences that I was saying, that I was inviting you to kind of say yourself, I am perfect, I'm completely broken, I can't do anything right, I do everything right. Those were just thoughts. Those were just words that I was saying. That was just language that you understood, that you processed. As a result, you felt a certain way. You were probably arguing back and forth with your advisor. And we just get running circles and circles and circles, and we get exhausted. So the first part of this is just like, hey, let's just pause. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is my advisor. Just that's all this is. I don't need to listen to it right now. This isn't helping me. This is trying to, cue me in on something. I need to recognize this is my advisor. Not everything it's saying is true. Okay. And that can happen when we pause and we get curious. Let's recognize that's what's going on. Feel free to submit the questions. What was I saying? I was saying this workshop and during this time, it's kind of tricky because we're going to be thinking about how we think. We're going to be thinking about the words that we listen to in our head, which are thoughts. So it's kind of hard to grasp, but it's my goal to make this as accessible and as like relatable as we can to understand and make some separation between us, who we are as a person, as a human being, and who that advisor is that's sitting next to us. We're just going to speed rewind here on who this guy is. This one right here. That there's separation between us right here, just chilling, just like, hey, life's pretty good. This is us. This is us, just adorable us right here. And then our advisor. Sometimes helping, sometimes not helping, sometimes causing a lot of stress, sometimes causing a lot of relief. All right. So we go. We're putting separation between that. We're going to recognize it. We all get stuck. We all get stuck. The fancy term for that is what I was talking about earlier. It's called cognitive fusion. That's when we make no distinction between ourselves and our thoughts. That's when we hear the statement like, I can't do anything right. And we automatically believe that. And we're stuck to it. It goes beyond just, I made a mistake, to now it's like, I am a mistake. I can't do anything right. Nothing I do goes the way I want it to do. And like, we're tail spinning, right? That's called cognitive fusion. That's called just being stuck. And sometimes it happens like that for hours or minutes. Sometimes it happens like that for days, for months. There could be, if you're, whether you're listening to this December 18th, 2025, or sometime in 2028, maybe you're like, I've been stuck for a long, long time. This is your invitation just to pause and just to get curious, to recognize that and to know that's an exhausting way to live, and we don't have to live that way. We can place the separation between us. What does that look like? That's unstuck. That's cognitive diffusion. That's recognizing that our advisor is there to help us. It's not always there to be the most helpful. It alerts us to threats and a danger that aren't really there. It can put a strain on our relationships. We can get distracted with school. We can have trouble sleeping. Sometimes our advisor keeps us up all night long. Sometimes our advisor does things like we maybe studied really, really hard for that particular test, thinking like AP exams, and then our advisor just psyched us out and our mind goes blank. Like, it's tough. We get stuck to it. We get stuck. This is about getting unstuck. This is about being unstuck. So how do we do it? How do we do it? We're going to get to some question time here in a little bit too, but if you have something along the way, feel free to ask it. I'm totally glad to answer those as we continue going on. Okay. So how do we snap out of it? What is one way to get unstuck? Well, quite simply, but not very easy. Simple, but not easy. And that's to not believe everything you hear. That's to not believe everything you hear. Many of us, as I said before, everything that our advisor says we take as true, we take as reality, and it can cause us a lot of pain. And the opposite is true as well, to where maybe it goes beyond just confidence, and maybe it goes to arrogance. and then thinking that we're the best or that we can't make any mistakes. Now all of a sudden, now we're not a great hang. Now we're actually making mistakes because we think we have it covered. All right, so it goes in both ways, both the positive and the negative. This is something to think about as well, that it's not like, hey, just think positive thoughts and things will be fine. No. Because we can also get stuck in those too. And that can be unhelpful because those can also be completely off base. Like if we haven't put preparation into a relationship or to a project, and then we think we have it totally under control, then we find out we don't. Then reality hits, right? And our advisor, we were listening to it and be like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Turns out it's not fine. Remember that bear earlier? And the people that were like, I'm sure it's probably just a squirrel. It's fine. Things are good. Thanks, advisor. You're telling me things are chill. I believe you. And then the bear comes, and then it's not so great, right? So not believing everything we hear. So one way to do that is to redirect our advisor, to redirect it. And what that looks like is not a completely not listening to our advisor and just ignoring it or trying to avoid it, because that also just gets us tangled up as well. For example, don't think of that chocolate cupcake with the red candle on it. If you do one thing right now, don't think about the chocolate cupcake with the peanut butter icing and the red candle. Don't think about that. The flame is flickering and it's red and it's in there and it looks delicious. Don't think about that. Thumbs down if that's all you could think of. Thumbs down if that's all you could think of that entire time. Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. Because if we go into it just like, don't think about that, our brains, we don't work well with that. Because we try and avoid, we try and stuff, we try and hide, we try and just like, no, I am good. And we think positive thoughts. We need to redirect it. We need to redirect our advisor. And that is when we're hearing things like, you're going to fail at this next thing that you do. This conversation you have with your friend, it's not going to go well at all. We can still have that thought. We can still hear what our advisor is trying to tell us and still have that conversation. Because our advisor, like, it overprotects us. It's trying to warn us of threats and danger because it has great intentions, but sometimes it's a little too noisy and it's a little too big. And we have to say, I hear you, but I'm still going to have this tough conversation with them. I'm still going to hold my boundary. I'm still going to remind them of what I will and won't do in this relationship, that I'm not going to be talked to like that I'm not going to, keep picking you up if whatever it is, put this into what life looks like for you. We can hear our advisor, just say, thank you. Thanks for your help. I got it from here. I'm going to keep doing this. You're going to do a terrible job at this talk. You're going to do a terrible job. It's going to be at 5:00 and it's going to be a little bit before the holidays. And you're not going to be able to see any student, and you're going to have to ask them like 1,000,000 times to use emojis. It's going to be super awkward. I can be like, thanks. That was my advisor. Thanks. I appreciate it. We'll do okay. We'll get by. I can hear what the advisor is saying. I can hear X, and I can still do this presentation. I don't have to try and hide it or avoid it or stuff it down. I can just be like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I know you're trying to help me, but I put in preparation. I talked with Zoe for a couple of weeks, understood how I can best serve you all, and we're still going to do it. You can hear your advisor, and you can still do the thing. We don't have to get stuck. We don't have to try and fight it. Because when we try and fight it, it's like things get just super sticky. We get more tangled in it. We get stuck. The way to get unstuck is not to fight it. It's to redirect it. To redirect our advisor. And lastly is this. We're going to end. This is kind of fun. This is where you get to involve maybe some friends there with you. And that is to reflect. To reflect. Reflect on what is here and what is now. Being grounded in the present, which kind of goes hand in hand with pause and get curious, right? Pause and get curious is like, listen and pay attention and notice to what's happening in the here and the now. There are many of us, whether it be problematic, or like we have a diagnosis of anxiety, all the way to just like the human experience, we get anxious sometimes. Doesn't mean that it's problematic. We get anxious and we still do the thing. So you're both groups, and every group in between, every person in between is invited to this conversation and to this statement, and that is anxiety is always about the future. It's always about the future. Think about that. Anxiety is always about what are they going to say? What are they going to do? What if I mess up? What if this happens? What if I don't get in? What if they tell me this? Is this going to work or not? It's always about the future. Always. It's wild. I've yet to think of one instance where it isn't. And then, holler if you can think of something. But anxiety is always about the future. So when we reflect on the here and the now, the way to do that is with gratitude. Because that is a way to ground ourselves in the present. To instead of like, when am I going to get this? When is this going to happen? When is that going to stop? But rather being present in the here and now, reflecting what is around us, both on the outside of us and the inside of us, on what's in the here and now. And so you've heard of gratitude lists, I'm sure. Hey, write something every day that you're grateful for. I want to level that up because that's kind of tired. And sorry if, you've had another speaker, say that for any other workshop. No shade, just saying like, we've heard that. I'm gonna level it up a little bit. I'm gonna level it up and say this, that involve other people. Involve other people in your gratitude practice. Here's how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna invite you to have 5 specific things that you write down, put in your phone, probably go phone or like an app. Maybe it's a notes app, whatever it is, whatever thing you want to use. Maybe it's a whole group. Maybe it's a Discord. On Discord, you use that. I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever you want to use. And you have a group of people and 5 things every day, specific things. So you can't say things like my family and my friends and my neighborhood and my like specific things like my uncle Bob, my favorite pencil, electricity, Wi-Fi, stoplights. 5 very specific things. They don't have to be super big. And a lot of times it's easy to be grateful for those. I'm talking about specific, the small, the things we often overlook because we're not in the present. 5 specific things. Start a group chat, start a group. And if they try to leave the conversation, they try and leave the group, just bring them back in and do it all together. And that's a way for you all to kind of encourage each other, for you to see other people like, oh yeah, I have that too. Or yeah, I am grateful for a refrigerator or for cold water. A friend just put on here, been writing things I'm grateful for in my journal ever since 9th grade. I haven't skipped writing every day, no matter what happens. I love that. Gratitude boss right there. Very cool. Friend, I don't know if you are doing that with friends, but that's the invitation for us. That is a way to involve others, because here's the deal. Self-care is a team sport. It's a team sport. We need more than ourselves to take care of ourselves. We need more than just us to take care of us. However you want to look at it, both are fine. If that we've been created a certain way, or we've evolved to a certain point, or we came out of the factory this particular way, or just, hey, biologically, it is best for us, we found through research, whatever kind of clause to use at the beginning, we thrive in relationships. Relationships are what help us live happy and healthy lives. Like the most crucial thing is in relationships. So let's take that gratitude practice, a way for us to reflect on the here and now with others. Self-care is a team sport. We need more than ourselves just to take care of ourselves. So here they are all on one slide. Recognize, redirect, and reflect. Those are those 3 there. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and see if there's any questions that come through. I'm going to pause for a bit. Looks like we got about 5 minutes. And then let me stop sharing here.
Wait, thank you so much for the amazing presentation. I'm going to like read out the questions.
Let's do it.
Sorry, one second.
That's okay.
What's the one thing you wish more people understood about feeling stuck?
Oh, the very first thing that comes to mind is that we all feel stuck sometimes. When we feel stuck, we feel like we're the only one that's ever thought those thoughts or had those feelings. That's number one, is I wish people knew, like, hey, this is part of the human experience. Something wrong with you. You're not broken. You are having a normal response to a common occurrence of a breakup or something disappointing, someone hurting you, something not going the way you wanted it to. And it's okay. We all get stuck sometimes. Number two, I would say a lot of times we compare our insides to somebody else's outsides. Inside, we're stuck, and we look at other people. We're like, well, gosh, they look like they're doing fine, and it's not the case. And if you were able to have a super vulnerable, honest conversation with them, which I don't recommend to a complete stranger that looks like they have it all together, but we'll find that, hey, we're all going through stuff. We all have our own versions of things that are disappointing or they're challenging for us. I think that's number two, is comparing ourselves when we feel stuck is always going to be a lose-lose. And then number three is kind of what we said in here. That same character, the advisor that's causing us to get stuck, that we're just like battling, just like going head to head, it's doing that to try and keep us safe. And so if we can say like, hey, thanks, I got it from here. I'll let you know when I need you this next time. Those would be the three things that I can think of.
I love that answer. So there's another question. What is the smallest possible step someone could take when they feel stuck?
Yes, pause and get curious. You guys are lobbing some ones that it sounds lame because I'm just like referring back to the conversation. But I mean that literally, just like, okay, let's just take a beat and just kind of feel and sense and consider what's going through us. And instead of just continuing to run and run and run and go, just like, okay, let me just stop real quick. Okay. For example, it's straight up 6 p.m. Pacific time right now. My advisor might be saying like, you're going to go late. It's going to be disrespectful. It's going to be wrong. And you're going to have a bad presentation. I can go, and pause. Ultimately, what my advisor is saying is like, I want to be able to serve the MOL students and anyone who's watching this in the best way that I can. So there's no need to be like, oh, I'm a terrible presenter. No need to go there. Just to pause for a moment. It's a lifelong practice. And instead of judging ourselves and be like, man, I shouldn't be saying that. It's judgment. It's judgment. Get curious. Like, I wonder why. Like when someone comes in the room and every time they come in, you get kind of nervous or you get upset or you just feel kind of irritable. I wonder what's going on there. Second thing I can think of, because I know I said for one, but another small thing, if it's like, I'm not really a think about my thinking kind of person, that's fine. How about this? And this is what I do oftentimes as a therapist. Write down the event that's happening and how you're feeling and when, what, and how. The time of day, what particular situation's happening, and then how you're feeling. Maybe every time you're feeling nervous, every time you're feeling angry, every time you're feeling, whatever the emotion might be, to kind of keep track of it. That can be a way too, is just to begin to kind of get some data on that to find out. And then you can be like, that's super interesting. Every day around 10 o'clock, I get really like cranky. And then as your therapist, I might say, tell me what does breakfast look like for you? And you might say like, I don't really have breakfast. And it may just be as simple as like, you need to eat. You need to get something to eat. It doesn't have to be this whole psychological, like scary thing. It can be just like, Yeah, get some calories in you. That's what I'd say. That's what I did say right now, just right now in this moment.
Thank you so much. So that was our final question.
Great.
And since there are no more questions, we would like to thank all of you and our guest speaker for joining us tonight. Please fill out the feedback form in the chat to let us know how we did and help us improve future sessions. Visit our website to join our future monthly workshops. Thank you so much to everyone. Bye.
See y'all.